Come on, Cal. It's a secret.
What
happens in Zoom stays in Zoom.
Yeah.
You got that right. So,
Except that we're recording.
Uh-oh, delete
yeah,
that
then
part.
we're gonna put our recording out in public. So
Emil can edit it.
wait a minute,
Let me come
browser's
back
not working
here.
with my
I'm
camera.
gonna try one thing, reclaim host, and then what? Oh, let me add these people. And
Yeah,
then,
you just let people coming in, but Vance had a question here. He
Give him the passcode.
Okay, please do. Before I go on though, I want to tell you, I got a text from Mike Collier's campaign manager, and apparently his father is in the hospital. Bridget, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just going to pass that along. I had texted Mike and he sent me the message. His dad is in the hospital. He's there with him. His dad collapsed. I wasn't aware of this, but Mike's mom just passed away. But he thinks his dad's going to be okay, but that's the reason why he can't join. And he sends his apologies.
Well, we certainly have our hearts out to Mike for his loss and the current stress. So anyway, we're going to reschedule him for next month. And I do apologize for the nonsense we're having here today. And I'm so glad you came in. I promise next month we won't be going through this again.
I'm going to mute so the puppy won't disrupt us.
Oh, well, I want to apologize to you before you mute.
Oh, it's okay. We'll have to apologize to Dana.
I know.
No, we're good.
Folks,
No, we're
when I published our meeting agenda, I called Dolores, our county clerk, and it was just a dumb attack on my part.
No worries. I'm not offended. We work together. We're always confusing each other. Be other people too. So no worries.
Well, I have to admit, I have pandemic brain.
I think we all do. Definitely.
I am seeing symptoms of it everywhere everyone I talk to. And I started to say everywhere I go, and I don't go anywhere anymore, just like probably most of you. But with all the things that are happening in my quote unquote advanced age, I don't feel safe being anywhere, other than in my home. Okay, well, I think you all know us, but for the sake of taking a little time, let's introduce ourselves, okay? I'm Sandra Regona, president of NETCo Dems, and entirely and completely stressed out because of the things that are happening in our world today, which upset me. Afghanistan is a nightmare that I thought I saw on television in a movie, but no, it's real life. And so many other things going on in our state. So that being said, I'm going to let Emil introduce himself because he's very important to me. Emil?
Hi, I'm Emil Hunziker and the Odd Job Man. I try to do some voter registration when I can.
That pretty much covers it because I like the voter registration when you can. Again, I know we've had a few events, but they're very few. And again, it's because we can't get out and really talk to people and be safe. And we can thank our governor for that. Let's see, Jessica. Okay, while people are coming in, let's continue with introductions. We talked about Emil, and Jane, you want to tell everybody who you are and what you do?
I'm just Jane Denson, and I'm the treasurer and long time member. I guess the longest we've got. But also I'm a precinct chair 113. So I was been thinking about that, redoing my unregistered voters list, and maybe September on the weekends or something, I could get some crews out to do the voter registration.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. And in September, when things kind of cool down a little bit and maybe things will lighten up, I don't know, but I've got a whole city out here in Manor. Original population was 5,037 in 2010's census. And now we are close, somewhere between 25 and 30,000 people.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so in 10 years, we have,
More than double.
well, that's about 5,000 to 30,000 is, I think, 6 times. So anyway, we need some voter registration out here. Our next, well, Carol, you go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am the secretary of NETCo, but I have been deferring to the recording of our Zoom meetings instead of taking minutes. I hope you all don't mind that. I'm also a precinct chair for 223, which is North Central Austin. And I'm active with the Travis County Democrats, and I'm active with my neighborhood association. And we're painting a mural in my neighborhood.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I just read an article in my, being out here in Maynard, we have Blue Bonnet as our electric company. And they put out a monthly magazine talking about the rest of the state. And I just read an article about how during the Depression, President Roosevelt commissioned artists to paint murals in the post offices.
Yeah.
And most of them have been painted over the years, but there are 6 that are right around me within a 50-mile radius. And so I'm going to take a road trip one day and go see those post offices and those murals. I think that would be at least a fun thing I can do and get out.
Keep a
Yeah.
travel log and post it, Sandra. That sounds like a fun thing to do.
I will do that. I think it is a fun thing, and maybe I can get some people to go with me. That would be great. So yes, Bridget, did you want to say something?
I was raising my hand to sign me up for your road trip to go see the Depression era murals in the post offices.
I will do that. I'm making a note right now. Murals visit, post it, and invite. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. I don't see Mandy, who's the vice president, or Idona. Don't see her. So I guess we will go on. I want to introduce you to somebody I just briefly spoke with at our last meeting. At the same time that we were meeting, Mike Collier and some others were in a meeting, a 5-county meeting in which a man disturbed it and caused all kinds of problems, which then tells me that maybe there is a safety issue in getting out in the public beyond COVID-19. So Vance, would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and what advice you can give us?
Of course. Can you hear me all right?
I think so, yes. I'm going to
Okay.
mute myself here.
Well, my name is Vance Long, and I run a company called the Scan Group, and we actually consult on security, campaign security. My background is in executive protection. I worked with corporate execs from New York to Texas. I've helped create executive protection programs. I've got a lot of event security history in my past too. I used to work for one of the directors of Chanel, and we did a multi-city event where we took $75 million worth of jewelry to several cities, and even set one up in the middle of a temporary facility in the middle of Manhattan. And you see we've seen a lot that's been going on in the last couple of years here with that last event was just one example. And there's a lot we can do to be proactive, and that's really the key, I think, is doing it ahead of time, making sure that we have the right kind of tools in place. I think you're still muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. Can you just describe some of the things that you might tell us to do?
Well, I mean, I think just starting with, one of the things that you can do is you can start with just the venue itself, even if you're having a regular meeting, have some type of agreement, lease agreement, temporary with the venue itself, be it where we met at the ghost town, or if it's a restaurant meeting that gives you control of the venue, decide who stays and who goes, even if it's an informal one. The other thing that I would suggest, really the biggest thing, is, or one of the biggest things would be to use the ACLU's observer program and have several people trained as observers to document anything that should happen. That's just really helpful. We saw that with, I mean, we talked about or you mentioned the incident last month, but we all saw the bus last year. And some of the camera footage for that was, taken away at maybe some of the most important times of the footage. One of the other things that any 501c3 can do in Texas is they can actually file with the Public Security Bureau, Private Security Bureau, for a letter of authority, which actually allows them to train their own in-house security and license them under the state, should they want to do that. And also the other thing that I usually recommend, well, security is interesting because I can come to someone and say, I think you should do this. And they'll go, we see this in executive protection all the time. Oh, we're not going to do that. We could say, oh, like with the bus, we want to have a law enforcement escort. And the executive may say, I don't want the optics of that. We need another solution. So we look at things like that. If you're having the venue outside, like that five county venue, you're probably going to want at least one law enforcement officer there that has jurisdiction over the venue itself, especially if it's a larger gathering where you think you're going to draw something or you're discussing a hot button topic. Because if you do have security or person there that's actually trying to remove someone and someone gets aggressive, if you transfer them over to the law enforcement officer, they then decide whether they're off duty or on duty. And if that person continues to get aggressive, law enforcement response is going to be exponentially quicker to an officer calling in a backup request than someone making a 911 call to a situation like that. I've handled a lot of security events all over. Even here in Texas, we worked with the Rot Rally many years before, and that could be a very rough crowd as well too. You just kind of prepare, and those are the things that we'll do. We can go into more detail, and if someone has some specific questions about any of the events that y'all are normally doing, that's something I'd be happy to do. I will say if you're out doing like the voter reg or the blocking, one of the things that we do in executive protection is we'll have a small day pack with us that has water, snacks, small first aid kit. But one of the things, if we're carrying like a messenger bag or something, we'll have like a cross strap, and then make a little foam sleeve that fits right on the top. And if you do see yourself in an altercation, you can turn your cell phone into an instant body camera. Just drop it right there. Your hands are free. You can keep other people out. You can say, hey, look, if you're an observer at an event, it allows you to maintain other people out of an escalating situation.
Well, thank you very much, Vance. So Dolores, can you tell us about your adventures and as you're in your new position?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Dolores Ortega Carter, I'm the Travis County Treasurer, and I have the great honor of being the president for the National Association of County Collectors, Treasurers, Finance Officers for the whole United States. This is an affiliate of a larger organization called the National Association of Counties, which is charged to making sure that counties are strengthened, are heard in Washington. And so we were very honored to be a part as an affiliate of NETCo. What NETCo does is bring us all together from all the 50 plus states, the Virgin Islands and everywhere, to talk about financial management within the counties, treasury management as well. We get continuing education classes, which we are constantly, if you ever stop learning, you're never going to finish. You have to keep learning things that are out there, new inventions. And especially with this pandemic, we've learned different kinds of ways to serve the public, the taxpayer, as far as providing services that are contactless and that will still the taxpayer gets to have interaction with the county offices, whether it's the tax assessor, the tax collector, your treasurer, your commissioner's court, or whatever. We still have to have that contact by the constituents but yet contact less. And so we've learned to be flexible in the things that we do as far as treasury management goes, especially here in Travis County. We are constantly working on rotation basis and providing the services that are needed. So being a president of the NETCo is definitely an honor. I've been on the board for several years, and I'm only one of 4 I guess, members of NETCo that have ever, from Texas, that have ever been president of the association. It's a challenge now. We're going, of course, Zoom, virtual or in person, in conjunction with the National Association of Counties. And we just are working in partnership with all the committees and all the other affiliates that are with NETCo and meeting the challenges of that we are facing today. But one of the things, like I said, that we've learned to do is be flexible in order to provide the services that you need as a constituent. I'm available at any time to provide what you need, and just all you have to do is give me a call. And so I'm real honored that I've always been a member of this organization, not only this NETCo, but also all the Democratic clubs in Travis County. And it is greatly an honor to be your county treasurer, and definitely an honor to represent you on a national level as president of the National Association of County Collectors and Treasurers and Finance Officers. So thank you for letting me just join you and give you a little recap of what I do behind the scenes between 3 and 4 in the morning, in addition to working, there in the office. So like I said, it is a real honor, and it's good to see you all. And I promise you, we'll make it through. Baby steps. That's what we keep telling ourselves, and we'll get through this together as a team. So thank you very much, Sandra.
Well, thank you so much, Dolores, for all you do for us. We really appreciate it. And you are, like Dana and the others, the unsung heroes of Travis County. You guys do a lot of work, and I quite honestly, I've been very impressed with the county and all it's done since I moved here, 7 years ago now. I particularly think that Andy stepped up,
Yes.
With our COVID and all the things that were going on. He really took the bull by the horns, and the rest of you just were dynamite. I haven't seen my own county commissioner. I think he's probably worn out completely, because the man I know was working day and night. So I really want to compliment you all and thank you guys all for your work.
Well, thank you so much.
It is not often mentioned, but it is appreciated.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Keep us in your prayers.
Absolutely. Why don't we take some time to talk to some of our candidates? I'm looking across the screen and I see Mary Ann, you're running for something, right? And
Yes.
Greg, and
Yes, ma'am.
Jessica. Okay, let's just start going around, and each of you take a little minute to tell who you are and how you're doing, because right now is very difficult to campaign. So just give us a couple minutes of what you're up to.
Hello, my name is Mariana Spiritu, and I'm running for Travis County Court at Law number 5. Okay, and how am I doing? I'm doing okay. I was out collecting signatures before the Delta variant got really bad, and then I was driving around town collecting signatures individually from people, and then I found out that Travis County was undercounted and I don't actually need signatures to get on the ballot, but it was still good to be able to talk to people, and getting a signature is just a way to segue into approaching people and telling them a little bit about myself. So that's how I'm doing, but otherwise just hanging in there. Sad to be back on the Zoom, but it is what it is, and I'm glad to see everybody's faces. Thanks for letting me speak. Oh, look, I'm wearing my shirt today.
Oh, good. I really like that shirt.
Me too.
Thank you, Marianne. Craig, you want to tell us how you're doing with your campaign?
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Craig Moore, and I am running for the 403rd District Court. It's so good to see everyone this morning. I am doing well. I've had a great opportunity, some great opportunities to visit with my friends in Pflugerville. I was down in South Austin a couple of days ago. And so, the more opportunities that I get to connect with voters on a personal level and tell them about my personal story, the reasons why I'm running for this court, it's a great feeling for me. Obviously, the pandemic has hampered our ability to do as much as we want to do, but for the things that we are doing, I feel very fortunate, very blessed, and I'm proud of our efforts. So I'm doing well. I appreciate all the support, and I will drop my website in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. Let's see, who's next on our list?
Did y'all see what Dan Patrick said on Fox News? It's
No.
being reposted on social media. I just reposted it. They said, hey, they're coming after your governor because COVID cases are rising in the state. And Dan Patrick actually said it's because of Black people. He said African Americans have the highest rate of COVID, and they're in the cities, and the cities are run by Democrats, and Democrats aren't doing anything to get them vaccinated, and they're the reason that COVID is spreading in the state of Texas. I shouldn't laugh because it's so horrible. It's typical race baiting, hate speech, but he's just so wrong. And I think everybody needs to go after him about this. It's appalling. I mean, the Democratic leadership isn't perfect in the cities, but we have done enormous amounts of outreach and work and collaboration with communities of colors to increase the vaccination rate. And the Republicans are doing everything they can to block it and make it harder. So everybody needs to just signal their outrage about it, but it's so typical of him.
It's also part of this long-term thing to determine the urban versus the rural areas.
Absolutely.
The defining lines in our politics right now is, the city, the cities versus the rurals, and, with the suburbs as sort of the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And it's really, and obviously that's very racialized.
Well, a lot of the young people in rural areas are voting with their feet and moving to the urban areas because
as we saw in the census numbers.
Rural areas, exactly. The census numbers.
The rural Texas, at least probably nationally, is emptying.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and blame the local leadership for that. I mean,
but the whole purpose of the Republican Party is to divide and conquer.
Yep.
I mean, that is what they're doing in every facet, every manner which they can. And I guess we just have to, I know they've beaten me down, but I have to keep hanging in there because the rest of you, we need to stay together. That's what we need to do. And so, yeah, we meet once a month, but maybe we should meet more often, just to know, hey, there's somebody out there who thinks and feels the same way I do. And my campaign is worthwhile, and I am going to get elected to the place I want to go. Jessica, I believe you're running for a position too.
Yes, ma'am, I am. My name is Jessica Wynn. I am a candidate for the 331st District Court. And I know when we go into these meetings, we typically give similar stump speeches or from meeting to meeting, but I really appreciate your question asking how I'm doing. This week has been fun and also anxiety ridden because I had my pre-K 4-year-old start school this year, and she's in AISD and she has a special needs kiddo. And this was also a hard week for us because I checked in with both my parents. I'm the daughter of Vietnamese refugees who have been very triggered by this week with some of the things that we've been seeing on the news, seeing the images that look similar to the images that were my parents' lived experiences, but instead of aircrafts, they both came over on boats. And so It's been a really tough week for us, but it's also something that we are willing to just take in, feel, and push through and understand those experiences. Just a little bit about me, because I know I am new to the group, and I know a lot of faces, but I don't know some of the faces that are on here. I am an assistant district attorney with the Travis County District Attorney's Office. I've been a public servant for over 11 years now. The last 4 years, I've been in the Child Abuse Division, so I handle the physical and sexual abuse of children, the prosecution of those perpetrators. And for the last 5 years, I've been the only animal cruelty felony prosecutor. So I handle the cruel treatment, the torture, the killings of your animals, either domesticated or non-domesticated animals. And so my entire career has been really focused on trying to protect the most vulnerable. At the same time, I also know sometimes in the courtroom, the most vulnerable person can be the person accused of a crime. So I have made it my mission in the DA's office to really shine light on some of these issues that contribute to systemic racism, that contribute to over-policing areas of color, and bringing in national speakers and having Zooms like this where we get really up close and personal and talk about important issues about how we can be better in our part of our criminal justice system. So I really am thrilled to get to know you guys. I really hope I get to meet you guys in person. And I'm going to put my website in the chat box. It's www.votejessicaforjudge.com. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Jessica. And you, of course, hit on some things that are near and dear to my heart, and that's animal abuse. That's one of the things that really, people and animals alike deserve, equal care. We just need to care. And I've always thought that the people who care about animals also care about other people a lot more. It's just something I've always seen, and I really appreciate what you're doing. I will say this about the courts. You said you're at the 33rd District Court. I can't, go ahead.
I'm running for the 331st District Court. Yes, ma'am.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is because there's so many district courts, so many courts, that I can't keep them straight. So, I just know that you're running for an office in the legal world. And I have seen what our Texas Supreme Court has been doing. And I know that eventually, maybe you people, as you get to your judgeship, you can move up, because I certainly hope somebody starts running against these Supreme Court justices. They need to be replaced in toto. Okay. So that's our goal. I have found that we can get good legislatures in. We can get even our governor and lieutenant governor and all that, but we have to have the judges, because that's where it comes from. That's where it's gotta be. So just know that I'm rooting for all of you. Let's see, who's next? Chantel, have you spoken?
I have not, but Jessica is actually running against me, Sandra. She's running for the 31st District Court. So just so we clarify, I am running for re-election for the 331st District Court, and I believe that my court is one of the most progressive in Travis County. We have the highest disposition rate, and we've maintained one of the highest disposition rates during the pandemic. We did pass the automatic personal bonds for certain state jail and low-level third-degree felonies. We're hoping to expand that, but we haven't been able to because of the pandemic, and because Jose is new to the DA's office, so some of his policies are evolving, and so we're kind of watching how they evolve. So I think that we're doing a great job in the 331st District Court, and I like Jessica. I've got absolutely nothing against her, and she certainly can run. It's a democratic country, and that's what it's all about. But I believe that the court is being very successful, and you can watch. We're on YouTube every Monday from 9 to 1. If you want to watch one of our dockets, you can certainly come on and watch and see what we're doing. What we found is that the technology has made us more efficient. So we intend to continue with the technology even after we get back to normal. I think this campaign cycle is going to be very difficult for all of the candidates. I think it's going to be longer than normal. I think it's going to be more difficult to interact with people, because Zoom is great that we're able to get together on Zoom since we don't have an alternative right now. But there's nothing that beats in-person interaction. When we had the meeting last month, I was so thrilled. That was the first time I'd been able to get together with a group of people and be able to talk about things that we all want to talk about, whether it's Afghanistan or whether it's the governor's, foolish moves or whatnot. So I'm gonna just try to make sure that we maintain while we go through this, because it's going to be a very, very long, difficult process for all of us. And I think we need to support each other, whether we're candidates or just members, because this is a huge group. And when we go to the live meetings normally, I mean, NETCo takes up the entire restaurant.
Yes.
And so, even now, a lot of the people that are members of NETCo, they're not coming to the Zoom meetings, either because they don't know how or because it's too difficult or whatever. And that's a shame, because I don't want to lose the members of NETCo. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but you have supported me in every election that I've run in. NETCo has endorsed me in every election, and I really appreciate NETCO as one of the,
You had a stop sign.
there. Huh? I didn't hear.
I think Donna, she's on her iPhone and she said something, but we couldn't hear it. But I do want you to tell me, by the way, Jessica and Chantel, do tell me when you're running against each other, just simply because I want to remind you that in January, NETCo Dems has our endorsement meeting. And so between now and then, you want to acquaint us with you so that when we have that endorsement meeting, we can hopefully pick the right candidate. As Chantel says, she's been a long time supporter of us, and we have supported her. So Jessica, is there another position you could run for?
This is the one. This is the one. But I do think that Judge Eldridge is right. I'm really glad that there is a democratic process. And I think y'all are a great hands in terms of having a handful of great candidates, right? Like that's what democracy is all about, that you have a choice of a lot of good people. So this is the one.
And that is the best point right there, is that as Democrats, we do have a choice. And it is up to you to convince us that you're the best person for the job. And that's then once we get our endorsement, then we go out and talk to other people and encourage them to vote. So that's how that works. And it is a democratic process. I'm not sure Republicans do that. I think the party picks their people and the others just run more or less against everything. I see there's got all kinds of things going on with the governorship. They're hoping to maintain it as a Republican position, but I'm hoping that our Democrats will outweigh them, but we'll see what happens.
Sandra,
yes.
You were saying it's hard to keep track of who's running against who. I've got a Google Doc spreadsheet that I've put together for TCDP that lists all of the races and who's running against who. So
Excellent.
I don't know if it's 100% accurate. I keep updating it as I get new information. So if you click on that, that will tell you who's running against who.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, David. I can count on you to keep me on the straight and narrow so many times. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
I think next, let's see, Denise, are you?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Sandra. And thank you for posting that question about how are you. I'm Denise Hernandez. I'm running to be the first openly gay Latina judge to serve County Court at Law number 6 with our great Judge Mueller considering the 403rd. I am greatly considering County Court number 6 for lots of reasons. One, I am the daughter of migrant workers in a low-income community, and that experience, as Jessica shared, has been very triggering. I think during the legislation, during the pandemic, we've seen such disproportionate impacts be magnified by the pandemic. And then being a gay woman of color, seeing the way the legislature is attacking our trans youth, it's really hard for my wife and I to navigate through these spaces. And so I really appreciate you asking the question, how are you? I'm doing fairly well, considering that I'm healthy and my family's healthy. But there are the hard days, right? And it can be very triggering in everything that's going on. But where I gain a lot of my inspiration is community. and being in spaces with all of you, hearing how passionate all of you are about voter registration, voter engagement, that gives me hope. And that gives, I think, a great sign of what we can continue to do in the community. And so just to give you a small insight to why I am passionate about County Court at Law number 6 is my lived experience has definitely instilled a value of social justice, especially coming from migrant family, being LGBTQ, and seeing such disproportionate impacts in our criminal justice system growing up in Houston. And it is my calling, I feel, to help our courts be more inclusive, equitable, and culturally competent, to have a good understanding of all the communities that we serve. And so I'm going to drop my website in the chat, and I ask that you take some time to learn a little bit more about me, my leadership in community advocacy. And again, it's a real honor to be in this space with you. Even though it's virtual, it's still meaningful and inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise. Let's see, Danella. Are you, there you go.
Yes, I was looking for the little button. Good morning. I'm Daniela Lytle, and I'm running for 261st District Court. That is a civil court. Judge Laura Livingston is retiring at the end of her term, and I'm running for her seat. It's a countywide seat, so just civil cases in the entirety of Travis County. How I'm doing, it was a rough week. I have two sons, a second grader and a kinder boy, and my kindergartner just started school this week. And so of course, like all the parents, we are worried about how the mask issues will be handled, but we're doing well. He went off and said, "Mama, you can leave." So that's a good sign. In terms of how I'm doing in the campaign, I've been trying for a long time to schedule my campaign kickoff and event, and it's been obviously hard to do with everything going on. So what I have done, the approach I have taken is I have set a date for a campaign kickoff, but it's only a tentative date. So 2 months from now, on October 20th. So the way I have done it is to announce it as a tentative date. It's going to be at Mercury Hall. That has indoor and outdoor, but the owners of Mercury Hall have given me complete ability to shift the date depending on the COVID stage at the time. So we will be looking at conditions and just on the fly having to make changes. But that was one day to have one date and be able to move it within the same facility. So I have to call it a tentative date, and I can't invite any of you. So that's what's going on this week. In terms of a little bit about my background, I'm a proud Latina and daughter of South American immigrants who immigrated to the United States in the late 80s. I was the first in my family to attend college. And my inspiration for attending law school was to help at-risk communities like my own. As you guys heard, I'm a mom to 2 young children. I am an Army veteran where I served as an infantry medic for 8 years, including during 9/11. And I am a multilingual trial lawyer and business owner. I own and manage a law firm, Lytle Law Firm, with 2 brick and mortar locations and 10 employees. And what we do is we help families in conflict with regards to family law and immigration issues. So I have been litigating cases in civil court and in federal court to help middle-class families and immigrants. And I was very involved in all of the immigration issues during the Trump administration and kids at the border. And so that's a little about my background. Thank you for hosting this morning. It's really good to see you guys again, even though it's this time's on Zoom, but thank you for this opportunity to reintroduce myself again.
Well, thank you so much, Danelle, and you gave me an idea. I'm thinking maybe our September meeting might be in an open public area, but we got to see what happens with the COVID thing. But that is something to be thinking about, and I would like to see you all again. I don't know about you, but I had a great time at our Ghost Town meeting. I really thought that was fun. And I don't know about you guys, but I love their hamburgers. It's just great. Maggie Alice, I know you're out here somewhere. Are you able to speak to us?
I am. Hi, Sandra. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right. I am Maggie Ellis. I'm running for the Third Court of Appeals, which is a intermediate appellate seat that hears all of the civil and criminal and administrative law appeals for 24 counties. Today we are in Tom Green County visiting our friends in Tom Green. We are not able to do anything in person, but I want to show you, we're at the courthouse right now. If you can see it, it's huge and it's beautiful.
Wow, it is.
Really enjoying, it's giant and beautiful. I'm enjoying seeing all of the different courthouses around. It's unfortunate that Mike couldn't be here, and we are definitely thinking about him and his dad and his family. I was able to have an event with him where he spoke in Burnett County a couple of months ago with several county chairs and representation from about 5 counties that were there, and a Trump supporter came and tried to disrupt the rally. The police came. And when I've talked to some of our very brave rural Democrats, they said that oftentimes they show up at these rallies, the Trump supporters, with AK-47s, and because of open carry, it's very dangerous. They're incredibly brave. So that's what we're up to right now. I would love to see you all in person. I really hope, Sandra, that it's safe to do that in September. I definitely miss seeing you all. So thank you for the opportunity to talk, and I hope that we don't lose service, but we'll see you soon. I'll put my website in the chat. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much too, Maggie. And earlier, Maggie, we had a gentleman named Vance Long who specializes in security for campaigns. And he spoke. So your event last month is what prompted me to ask him to speak to us today. So I just want to let you all know that he's available. He's right there in our meeting called Vance Long, TSG, and that's him. So
thank you, Sandra. He had great ideas. I loved all of his suggestions. And I did get a chance to talk to him at the last in-person meeting. And so I'll look forward to definitely talking with him again. Thank you so much for thinking of that.
Well, thank you. And I think, we all have to be safe. There's no two ways about it. It looks like we are getting another warning at the end of so if I don't get to everybody, I apologize. But then there is next month, and I will set it up myself so we will not have this problem. But let's see. Leslie, I think you're next in my show here. Do you want to speak a little bit before we run out? And if we run out of time, folks, I will send the link for next September's meeting, and I guarantee you, I will give you every opportunity to speak again, okay?
Thank you
Go
so
ahead,
much,
Leslie.
I'll make it quick. It's great to see you all this morning. And my name's Leslie Boykin. I am running to be the next judge of County Court at Law number 6. And to answer your very thoughtful question, I have been a little abnormally busy because I've had 2 of my 5 animals in cones for the last week and a half to 2 weeks. I actually am from a small town in East Texas, and Thanksgiving before last, I was there visiting my family, and this dog wandered out of the woods, totally blind in the dark. And I thought that I would give him up to the shelter, but I ended up keeping him for myself. His name's Red, and he had to be neutered, unfortunately, even though there's really not much of a danger of a blind old dog. But anyway, Red's been in a cone, and then Conway, one of the cats, got in a fight. So it has been a little bit wild around here. I run my own criminal defense practice, and I have since 2004. When I grew up in East Texas, I saw a lot of injustice and unfairness around me. I spoke out against it, both to my family, my schoolmates, everyone that I could talk to. And I got into some trouble for that. That only lit the fire of wanting to be a criminal defense attorney, and which is what I've done with my entire career. I've been a precinct chair for the Democratic Party for over 7 years, and my replacement, Chris Korsky, will be sworn in this Sunday. So I'm very excited that that slot is going to be filled now because, you know, we're a hot area here in Southwest Austin. We need a precinct chair to be doing that good work. So I've been in Austin Bar, I've been in Austin Young Lawyers, served on their boards of directors, served on boards in my neighborhood. I love being involved in my community. I'm an extrovert. I love to meet new people and talk to people. And so whether it's Zoom or in person, I enjoy seeing y'all's faces and getting to talk to you about my motivation for running. Thanks again, and I look forward to visiting at more length later.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Leslie. And I am glad I asked that question because we're getting a lot more personal information from each one of you, which really makes you more human, more personable, more known. You know, you're not just a name with a title running for, you know, you become something special. So Bridget, are you running again?
I am, Sandra. Thank you for asking. And also thanks for asking the personal question of how we're doing. That's one of the things that we often do when we meet in person. It's just a little harder to do it over a Zoom meeting, but you asked, and I was really fortunate to be able to travel with my husband this summer. We were able to go to Italy, which was something we wanted to do for a long time. Yeah, we had a fabulous time, Ragona. I wasn't able to track down my relatives in the Basilicata region, but we had a fabulous time. And I was really struck by what a sane and rational policy the Italian government has as a federal policy. They required anyone who wanted to go inside any building, be it a museum or a shop or a restaurant, you had to show proof of vaccination and you had to wear a mask. Really simple, really straightforward, really clear for everyone. There was none of this unbelievably ignorant. And I do think that our enemies are involved in furthering this bizarre argument over whether or not masks work and whether or not the vaccines will embed some kind of microchip in you. I mean, it's just such bizarre stuff. I used to think that Americans had a lot of common sense, and I've just thrown that notion out the window altogether. I'm going to divert a little, and I've now uncovered a favorite GIF, and it's two pictures. One is vaccine research, and it's scientists in lab coats and laboratories looking through microscopes and doing all their scientific work, and anti-vax research, and it's a picture of a person sitting on a toilet looking at their cell phone, which I think captures a lot of what's going on there. It was such a stark contrast to see how this was handled at the national level in Italy. And we're still just a little jet lagged, but I'm mostly feeling really fortunate that we were able to go. I am running for re-election. I've been honored to serve as your Precinct 2 Commissioner, and would ask for your support for re-election. I think a lot of you know that I first chose to run, and it's been the reason I've been in Texas since 1988, because I feel really strongly that we have to do more to protect people from climate change. And with the latest report that was released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is the most comprehensive research document on climate change, they issued a code red for humanity. And I feel really strongly we have to do more to work to prevent the harm from climate change, but also prepare people for what's coming. While we were traveling, huge parts of Europe were on fire. Record historic fires, historic heat waves. The island of Sardinia recorded the highest temperature in the entire continent of Europe ever recorded. And we're seeing it here all across this country. The spikes that happened in the northwest part of the country, which is usually much cooler. So we know, for instance, that our region is extremely vulnerable to wildfire. And I've been working since I first took office to come up with creative ways to help people be better prepared. So for instance, I launched an experiment in a neighborhood-based fire drill. It's not rocket science. It just hadn't really been done. We couldn't find any models or examples of it. And we worked with our law enforcement and first responders and the Comanche Trail neighborhood because they volunteered and they were a small enough community that it was practical to do an experiment with them. We ran it. It worked wonderfully. They've committed to continue the fire drill. And we submitted it for an award with the National Association of Counties, and we're honored with a Best Practices Award. So it's that kind of thing that I'm focusing on. I've created a wildfire town hall that we're going to have next Wednesday evening. We've got social media posts, and I'll drop a link into the chat as well for it. But I'm hosting it with Ann Howard, Commissioner Ann Howard, Councilmember Allison Alter, and Mackenzie Kelly, because they're all of our areas are the western part of Travis County, which is extremely fire prone. Although the entire part can catch fire, as happened in 2011 when the fire that burned Bastrop. That day, the first fire was a grassland fire near Pflugerville. So we know, I mean, the ice storm, how many people were affected by the ice storm? If we weren't personally, we all know people who were. So these threats are real, and we have to do more to prepare our residents and to make our community more resilient. And I think we can lead the way. I think we can create a lot of model initiatives in Travis County and Austin, and that's what I'm committed to doing. And it's the reason I'm running again. So thank you, Sandra, for the opportunity to speak today.